Alrighty, good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Friday, TGIF to everybody out there. My name's CJ Curry. And in today's live stream, we're going to be taking a look at the PrizePicks board, looking at NBA player props. I'll be helping you with all of your NBA player prop research for tonight's two-game doubleheader over in the National Basketball Association. We've got the Atlanta Hawks at Cleveland Cavaliers. We've got the New Orleans Pelicans and the Los Angeles Clippers locking horns tonight. So it should be a good night of basketball. I appreciate everybody being here. If you have not subscribed yet, make sure you slap the subscribe button. Turn on notifications if you want to be alerted, notified. If you want me to tap you on the shoulder every time I go live, you're going to want to have those notifications turned on. I typically go live Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time talking about player props. But with the NBA schedule sort of shifting and changing, there'll be days like yesterday, days like Monday where there is no NBA games. So I didn't go live those days. So we'll see. We're going to try and be agile here with the NBA schedule. It's going to be a little different. More games on the weekends, obviously. So maybe you'll start seeing me here more on the weekends and less on the weekdays. We'll just have to see. We'll play it by ear, but that's why it's important to have those notifications turned on. Anyways, if you don't play on PrizePicks yet, it's a great time to get signed up. A 100% instant deposit match awaits you. All you have to do, use promo code Curry. You see it floating above my head. There's links down in the description below for you to get started on your PrizePicks journey. You put in $100, they'll match it, giving you 100, or maybe you just want to dip your toe in the water and put in 20. They'll match that, giving you 20. A total of $40 to get yourself started on PrizePicks. Thank you so much for being here. Today's free entry Friday too, by the way. So if you're a member of my Discord, which is totally free to do, don't know why you're not a member, but it's free to join Discord. There's a link down in the description to join Discord. You can get your hands on one of three. We gave away three. One of three two-pick entries to win $100 over on PrizePicks. I give these away every single Friday to all Discord members. If you're a Patreon member, I give away even more free entries. We do 10 free entries every Friday to Patreon members. Again, these are two-pick entries. If you get both picks right, you win $100 over on PrizePicks. You don't have to do anything special. You just tap a little button when that giveaway goes live inside of Discord. So join the Discord. Whether you're a Patreon member or not, you'll still get a chance to win one of three 2-pick entries to bag $100 on PrizePicks. But if you're a Patreon member, then you get a chance to win one of 13 free 2-pick entries to bag $100 over on PrizePicks. So free entry Friday is underway. Make sure you jump inside the Discord. If you want to join Patreon, there's still plenty of time in the month of April. We're about halfway through the month. Baseball's been cooking. Last night was a cold night, I would say. A little bit of a, rocky night last night. But the previous nights, we've been having some pretty good success with the MLB props. In conjunction with the NBA, of course. We got NHL going. We got all kind of stuff. Community members, man. It's amazing what the power of a community can accomplish. We got people in there talking CSGO. We got people in there talking MMA. I mean, we're covering all the sports. And that's what's so great about being in a community with other like-minded individuals who have different interests, different perspectives, Got a lot of people into a lot of different sports inside Discord. So definitely check it out. If you're wanting to join Patreon, it's a good time to do so. Anyway, let's go over to the chat so we can get this 2-game slate, this party started. We got Guxry in here. I hope I'm saying that right. That's a difficult name, Guxry. I'm going to say it's Guxry. He says first. There's no doubt about it. You are first today. Thank you for being here. Hopefully you've hit the like button for me. Everybody that's in the live chat. Blake's in the building. Says, good morning, Chef Curry and the Patreon gang. The NBA is back tonight, so let's get this money. Yes, we're going to be getting the money. You flex and I flex back. Desmond Cox says, let's go. I just know that the community is about to kill these NBA playoffs. Alexa, play I Got a Feeling by the Black Eyed Peas. All right, good song. Little throwback there. Little throwback. T-Bone says, what's up, boss? Let's get this cheese. Excited to see what this kitchen cooks up today. Smash that like button, peeps. Appreciate you reminding the good folks to do so, T-Bone. You guys hitting that like button really helps the channel grow, and we are growing. Slow and steady is the name of the game. We are on our way to 6,000 subscribers. It would be amazing to hit 6,000 subscribers by the end of the NBA season. So you guys keep hitting the like button, keep hitting that subscribe button, and I'm sure we'll get there. Travis is in the building as well. He says, I've been on a losing streak. Hopefully we all get the money tonight, please. Well, I think we got a pretty good shot, pretty good opportunity. Drew Bree says, what's good, Patreon gang? Ready to rock. Let's get it. Shout out to you, Mr. Breeze, another one of our Patreon members. Aaron Rodgers is in the building. He's saying that he told us about Mason Plumlee. He tried to warn us that Mason Plumlee wasn't going to get a lot of run. And sure enough, if you played Mason Plumlee props the other night, the Plum Dog was looking more like the Slum Dog. He did not play very many minutes. So shout out to you. He did not play a whole lot. I think he had like 3 points or something for the game. It was weird. They didn't play a whole lot of Mason Plumlee or Montrezl Harrell. I think they fell behind, went small ball, tried to go offensive heavy. I don't know. James Borrego, not a big fan. Ronald's Green, what's up to you? We got Wander Lutz in the building. He says, happy Good Friday. That's right, it is Good Friday. Hope you have a fruitful day today. I like that. Sean Vega says, happy Friday, y'all. Hope y'all are having a great start to your day. Let's lock in. We're definitely here to lock in. Tony Ruiz is in the building. Great day yesterday as a community in MLB. No NBA, no problem. That's right. No NBA, no problem. We have MLB, NHL. Let's go. Smash the like button. You heard my man. You heard him. Mike from the fours. Let's go. Trevor Howley's in the building. Howdy, y'all. Howdy back at you, Trevor. Hunter is in the building. Shout out to you, Hunter. Mr. C3P, what's going on? The prop plug, he's in the building, already dropping some kudos, I guess, to himself. Vassal, Hunter, PRAs, both hit. Love it. Who else we got in here? Isaac. Shout out to Isaac, man. Where you been, Isaac? You've been skipping out on me, man. You've been cheating on me with somebody else in the morning. Glad to see you back here, Isaac. Thanks for being here. Christian wants to know, I'm a part of Patreon. How do I join the giveaway? Well, the giveaway is not up yet. It will go up. The giveaways will go up in Discord once I get off of here. But for right now, we're talking player props right here on YouTube. So be on the lookout, though. You will be alerted in Discord. Don't you worry, Christian. Can't miss it. As long as you're in Discord, you will be alerted. You will be alerted when those giveaways go live inside Discord. Ryan wants to know, do I do MLB videos? Right now, I don't do MLB videos. I'm kind of torn, kind of twisted. I don't know. Should I do MLB videos? I don't know if I want to jump off of one roller coaster being the NBA and jump into, an MLB roller coaster. And, I might want to take a little break after the NBA season wraps up. Might want to take a little time off. You know what I'm saying? This is a daily grind getting up here, talking prize picks and props and stuff like that every day on YouTube, So I don't know. I'm torn right now. I'm undecided, we'll say. Well, I'm undecided. I currently don't do any MLB videos, but I'm definitely doing MLB props and research in Patreon and Discord. So I don't know. Yeah, Dreamville, just make sure that you're in Discord. You will get notified. As I mentioned, you will get a notification to enter the giveaway when those go live. They are not live just yet. So, Fumes in here. He wants to fire James Borrego. I agree, man. It might be time for them to bring in a more tenured head coach. Neville's in the building. Shout out to Neville. Jonathan, Bishop, I see you. Bang, bang. Craig Fields, what's good, guys? Glad to be back with some NBA, but MLB has definitely been hitting. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Aaron Rodgers says you should definitely do MLB a couple days a week. Okay. I thought about maybe doing a live stream, or I thought about maybe just doing like a little short form video. Wouldn't be a live video, maybe just like a 1 to 2 minute type of video. Throw it out there. Here's a couple picks I'm liking. Ride with it, don't ride with it. Up to you. I don't know. We'll see. Nick's Rashad for Life says, I'm here. Smashing the like button for now. Let's go. It's Friday. We got this. Love it. Hunter says, if the Hawks win tonight, they'll upset the Heat. Bold take. Big statement being made here by Hunter Scott. He thinks if the Hawks can get through the Cavaliers, that they will upset the Miami Heat. Who agrees with this guy? Do we think Hunter's onto something here? Do the Hawks have what it takes to upset the Miami Heat? I think you're going to piss off some Heat fans with that statement, sir. That's what I'm thinking. Fresh, good to see you. Accolade Rhymes is back in the building. He says, so glad New York is in the playoffs. Brooklyn? Maybe you're talking about Brooklyn. Anyway. Let's get down to business, gang. Listen, first and foremost, if you have not taken advantage of this free square promo going on PrizePicks right now, they got Joel Embiid up for 30 to 31 more hours. He is at 0.5 points. Basically, a man needs to score 1 point against the Toronto Raptors on Saturday. As long as he scores 1 point, you are good. You have won at least one leg of your parlay, of your entry. So, yeah, definitely take advantage of this Joel Embiid promo. You get to put up to $20 on it. Up to $20 on it. Let me show you what I did with my Joel Embiid promo. This is what I did with it right here. All right. I put Shane McClanahan, Sean Mania, Merrill Kelly, Jakob Poeltl. Jakob Poeltl hit the other night. Remember we talked about him in the live stream? He was at 8.5 rebounds. And then I got Big Embiid in here, and I threw the whole 20 on it. So it looks like I'm in a good spot to get myself 200 bones. So like I said, guys, MLB's been popping. All right. So take advantage of this Joel Embiid free square if you haven't yet. Looks like I'm on my way to $200. I'm just saying. As long as my man scores a point, we in there. Speaking of being in there, make sure you slap the like button. Let's get down to business, talk about these two games tonight. We've got one tipping off 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. The Atlanta Hawks are back at it again tonight, facing the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Hawks came through the other night. They got it done against the Charlotte Hornets. Keep an eye on Bogdan Bogdanovic. He's a game-time decision. Still no John Collins. Still no Lou Williams for Atlanta. Over on the Cleveland side, I'm not sure, but it sounds like Jared Allen's going to try and give it a go, man. Sounds like he's going to try and give it a go. We'll have to keep an eye out on him. Dean Wade, Colin Sexton still out for Cleveland. So we're looking at 222.5 points between these two teams with a 2.5 point spread. Looks like it's slightly favoring Atlanta, but this one should be A-okay in terms of playing full game props. No need to take a first half only unless you identify a player who just happens to hit his first half props at a higher hit rate than his full game props. Then I can't be too mad at you. You might have a valid point there, a valid argument in playing a first half only prop, but I don't think you need to is what I'm trying to say. I don't think you have to, but you can if you find somebody who hits first half better than full game. Anyway, the next game, 10 p.m. tip-off, the New Orleans Pelicans versus the Los Angeles Clippers. 216.5 points. Not a very high scoring game. Kind of low scoring. It's under 220. 4-point spread, it's favoring the home team here, the Los Angeles Clippers. On the Pelicans side, nothing really crazy happening in terms of injury news. Listen, if the Pelicans advance, this is a shot in the dark here. This is a long shot, all right, a stretch. But if they advance, I saw Zion Williamson doing 360 windmill dunks in practice, all right? I saw videos of Zion Williamson showing some explosive bounce. Maybe Zion Williamson comes back at some point deep into the playoffs. I'm not saying that he will. I'm just saying there's a chance that maybe the Z-Man can come in, put on his cape like Superman, and possibly rejoin the New Orleans Pelicans if they make it far enough in the playoffs. I mean, the dude's doing 360 dunks in practice. I think he could play. If New Orleans really needed him, I think he could get out there and play. He's looking good enough to do these dunks. Why wouldn't he be good enough to go out there and help the Pelicans should they get past the Clippers? I don't know. Just throwing it out there. Over on the Clippers side, Luke Kennard, Kawhi Leonard, game time decision. Luke Kennard's probably really a game time decision. I think Kawhi Leonard isn't going to play. Preston and Scrub are both out. All right. So there you go. That's the two games. Any shot that Zion Williamson comes back this season? I mean, he's looking pretty good, guys. He's looking like he's coming, off of that foot surgery. He's looking pretty healthy. I think there's maybe an outside shot, a slim chance. Anyway, looking at these two games here, let's start by talking points props. Obviously, we're going to be using props.cash. That is what we use for all of our player prop research. Listen, it's been helping me a ton, not only for NBA, but it's really been helping for MLB as well. For pitching props, strikeout props more specifically. So I've been using it a lot. A lot of props.cash lately for NBA and MLB. If you want to check it out, props.cash, you get your first month 25% off using promo code Curry. There's a link down in the description below to get started. So we're going to be looking at points. Last 10 games, who has been hitting at the highest hit rates? And I want to start with the Eastern Conference, the early game first. Kevin Huerter at 12.5 points, leading the way at a 70% hit rate. From there, we got Gallo, Capella, Hunter, and Markkanen all hitting their points props at a 60% hit rate. From there, we've got Garland, Young, and Mobley all hitting at 40%. And then from there, New Orleans and Los Angeles, the top hitter as far as points go. We got a three-way tie. Zubac, Ingram, and Batum all hitting their points props at a 60% hit rate. Got a couple guys hitting at 40%, including Herbert Jones and Marcus Morris Sr. Some 30% hitters, CJ McCollum, Reggie Jackson. And then we've got Joe Val at 20% and Paul George also at 20%. So, that's the breakdown. What points props do you guys want to discuss today? Should we start with Kevin Huerter at 12.5? I mean, he's got the highest hit rate on the board. Highest hit rate on the board at 12.5 points. He's a 70% hitter. Or maybe we look at his teammate, Gallinari, 14.5 at 60%. We talked about Capella. He's been playing pretty good. At 12.5 points, he's at 60%, but we're getting him at 13.5 over on PrizePicks. DeAndre Hunter, Lauri Markkanen, Hunter at 14.5, 60% hit rate. But again, we're getting him at 15.5, not 14.5. And then Lauri Markkanen is at 13.5 on PrizePicks. He's at 60% as well going up against Atlanta. So you guys let me know which points props you want me to take a look at. I'd be happy to help. No, I ain't got much of a bankroll, Mr. Rogers. I've been building it up, man, through 2 picks and 3 picks. It ain't much, man. Listen, I know we got some high rollers. Some high rollers that play on PrizePicks. I am definitely not in the high roller group. Not in that category. But I'm doing all right. Doing all right lately. All right, you guys are saying do Capella. Let's start with Capella. He's going up against Cleveland. We're not sure. At least I'm not sure. Is Jared Allen going to play or not? I mean, he's got that fractured finger that's been sidelining him for a number of days now. I'm not sure if Jarrett Allen is going to be in or going to be out, man. If you guys have any information on Jarrett Allen's availability tonight, let me know. Let me know. But we're going to start with Clint Capella. We're going to assume Jarrett Allen's not playing. So when you load up props.cash here, make sure that you have the right prop dialed in. So we bumped them up to 13.5 points. When we do that, you can see his hit rates are 60% or 6 out of 10. 6 out of 10. You guys are saying Jarrett Allen went through shoot around, so maybe there's a chance Jarrett Allen gets out there, man, tapes that finger up, puts a splint on it, wears a glove, whatever he's got to do. Maybe we see Jarrett Allen out there against Clint Capella tonight. So maybe the matchup gets a little bit harder. But Clint Capella's been doing a great job, especially when you isolate the last 5 games at 13.5 points. He has gone over in 4 straight, posting 19 against Washington, 17 against Miami, 18 against his former team, Houston, and then 15 just 2 nights ago against the Charlotte Hornets. So he's been clearing 13.5 points pretty well. Pretty well. Against Cleveland this season, he has faced the Cavaliers 4 different times. He has covered his point prop of 13.5 in just 1 out of 4 games. And again, I think the matchup's going to be a little bit more difficult with Jarrett Allen out there. So we got to be careful here. It's looking good for Clint Capella, but if Allen's out there, it's going to be a tougher matchup than Evan Mobley would be, or Lauri Markkanen, or Kevin Love would be, right? Jarrett Allen, pretty good defender, long, athletic. He's the type of guy that could give Clint Capella some problems. And Clint Capella has had his problems against this Cavaliers team. Like I said, just 1 for 4, a 25% hit rate this season. So we go on down here. We take a look at this matchup. The Cleveland defense, you're going to see a lot of red. Red mean bad. Green mean good. Red mean bad. Yellow mean average. So a lot of red and a lot of yellow. A lot of bad and a lot of average matchups here. They do rank 20th against opposing centers. So maybe he's got that going for him. Let's take a closer look at that. Center position, last 7 games. We'll go to the points department. You're seeing Cleveland giving up 29.8 points per game to opposing centers. That is the 3rd most or 3rd highest point per game average allowed to centers in the last 7 games. But, of course, the last 7 games were without Jarrett Allen. How will he play tonight? Will he come in if he does end up taking the floor? Will he play a full complement of minutes? Will they use him in limited minutes? I don't know. But lately it has been easy if you're a center to score against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Like I said, giving up nearly 30 points per game, the 3rd highest average per game to opposing centers. So there you go. As far as a projection goes, we're going to pull a projection up here. We're using Fantasy Labs. A part of Fantasy Labs is this little thing called Action Labs. That is their player prop projections. And I've got Capella projected for 12.6 points. It is important to note here, at 13.5 points, you are paying quite the premium on Clint Capella. Why do I say that? Well, we're seeing him at 11.5 points on one sports book, PointsBet in this case. We're seeing him at 12.5 points on most of your other sports books out there. PrizePicks is going above and beyond, putting him at 13.5 points, gang. They really have him up there. 13.5. That's 2 points higher than PointsBet, a point higher than all these other sports books. So you are paying a premium on Clint Capella tonight. Yeah, he's at 12.5 on every book besides PointsBet. They got him a point lower. So at 12.5 points, slight betting favorite on most of your major sports books right now, minus 120, minus 114. But again, you're paying up at 13.5. You might want to take the under with Jarrett Allen expected to play. Maybe the matchup becomes a little more difficult for Capella. He's 1 for 4 against Cleveland this season and covering 13.5 points. Might be a possibility that he goes under 13.5. I don't like taking the over on a prop that's higher by 2 or 1 point than all the other sports books. You're really starting to eliminate any type of edge or advantage in this case. So either you fade this, or for me, you probably take the under. So that's the way I'm feeling about that one. Evan Mobley, Justin Mitchell's mentioned. Let's take a look at Emo. Evan Mobley's at 16.5 points. Let's take a look at him real quick. Do you think Jarrett Allen being in helps or hurts Evan Mobley in terms of scoring points? I don't know. We'll have to see. He's at 16.5 on PrizePicks, so if you're using props.cash, make sure you bump him up to 16.5 because by default, you're going to get him at 15.5. We look at the last 10 games here for Evan Mobley. It's kind of ugly, right? 40% hit rate for him. The last 3 games, though, have been pretty darn good. Pretty darn good. At 16.5 points, he's gone over in 3 straight games. Barely limping over against Brooklyn with 17. A little bit better cover rate here, 18 points. And then 19 against Brooklyn again. So 17, 18, 19, he's seen his points climb in 3 straight games. And against Atlanta this season, at 16.5 points, he is covered in 2 out of 3 meetings. There was another game here, New Year's Eve, where he scored 16 points. So at a prop line of 16.5, it would have been death by hook. But he came really close. He just needed to make one more free throw, one more basket, and he would have been over, and he would have been 3 for 3 against Atlanta. So he does seem to do a pretty decent job at scoring against Atlanta, just based on the 3 previous matchups that we can look at here. Scrolling down here, the Atlanta Hawks defense, not too scary. 21st in total points allowed, 24th in field goal percentage, 20th in 3-pointers allowed, 25th in 3-point field goal percentage, 6th in free throws allowed, and 13th in center defense. So nothing too scary, nothing too worrisome there. Let's assume Jarrett Allen plays. Evan Mobley would get back to the power forward spot, back to playing the 4. And in the last 7 games, the Atlanta Hawks are giving up about 18 to 19 points per game to opposing power forwards in that span. That is the 7th fewest, however. So it is kind of a difficult matchup on paper, Mobley versus Atlanta. Now, let's just play the what-if game. If Jarrett Allen does not make it out to the floor tonight, or if he's limited in any way, shape, or form, then Evan Mobley might spend a little bit more time at the center position. Centers, the Atlanta Hawks giving up 21 to 22 points per game to opposing centers over the last 7 games. So that is the 8th fewest. Still a difficult matchup. So whether he plays center, power forward, on paper, it's looking like kind of a difficult matchup. Moving forward here, taking a look at a projection for Mr. Mobley. I got him projected for 16.4 points, which puts him really close to 16.5. Again, you are paying up. You are paying a premium. Evan Mobley is at 16.5 on PrizePicks. He is at 15.5 on every other site for his points prop. So 1 point higher on PrizePicks. So again, if you plan on taking the over, there is no value here. They have sucked the value out of the over on Evan Mobley at 16.5 points. Maybe there's value in taking the under on Evan Mobley. At 15.5, though, he is a slight betting favorite. Minus 125, minus 130. Not super strong action coming in on the over for Evan Mobley right now. But you are paying a premium. Just like you were for Clint Capella at 13.5, you're paying a premium at 16.5 for Evan Mobley. So, there you go. Jarrett Allen might be back, Hunter. Might be back. It's possible. We're waiting on that. Kel's thinking Jarrett Allen could be on a minutes restriction. He's also thinking that maybe, we go under on Trae Young. I'm seeing Kel said Trae Young under on points. I'm seeing Leroy saying Trae Young over on points. So both of you guys are asking about Trae Young. Let's talk about Trae Young real quick. He's at 29.5. He's going up against Cleveland. Cleveland, for the most part this season, has been a pretty tough team defensively. So let's go ahead and pull Trae Young up here. The last 10 games for Trae Young at 29.5 points. He's hit the over in 60% of his games, or 6 of 10. So pretty decent hit rates. Looking at the last 5 games, the hit rates do come down a little bit, dropping down to 40%, averaging 28.6 points per game. That's about a point lower than his line today of 29.5. Against Cleveland this season, he has played the Cavaliers a total of 4 times. And in 3 out of 4 games, he has gone over against Cleveland. Dropped 35 on him back in December, 41 in February, and most recently, the last day of March, dropped 30 points on him there. So he's got a 75% hit rate, averaging over 32 points per game against the Cavs this season. The only time that he missed was at the very start of the season where he had just 24 points. Back then, I think the Cavaliers had Colin Sexton. Maybe Sexton's little feisty defense got into Trae Young's jersey or something and slowed him down a little bit. I don't know. Maybe Trae Young came out slow. Not sure. But he went under in the first game that they played. 35, 41, and 30 since that first game. So he's gone over pretty easily here in most of these games. We talked about the Cavaliers' defense. Pretty tough. A lot of red up on the board. They rank 7th against opposing point guards. So if you're a point guard, you've been having a hard time according to props.cash. Let's go ahead and take a look here at the Cavaliers over the last 7 games. They're giving up over 25 points per game to opposing point guards. That is a top 10 point per game average in that 7-game span. So not exactly a difficult matchup going up against Garland, LeVert, Okoro, whoever they decide to put on him. 3 for 4 this season. He's got a pretty nice matchup here on paper. So let's get a projection on Trae Young. So far, I'm leaning toward the over. That's the read that I'm making here. I'm leaning toward the over so far. Guys, we're getting some value here on Trae Young. Let me refresh because you know how PrizePicks is. Props be changing. Props be changing all the time. Yeah, okay. We are getting some value here on Trae Young at 29.5. Why do I say that? Well, he's projected for 32 points, first and foremost. That's a lot more than 29.5. And then out on your favorite sports books, he is at 30.5, even 31.5 out on some of these books. So most of the sites have him posted up at 30.5, but there's even one site that has him up at 31.5, PointsBet. So there is some value here on Trae Young at just 29.5. At 30.5, I will tell you this, he is being bet under, slightly bet under, minus 120, minus 112, minus 125 on some sites. But some sites, they are betting the over. Rivers Resort, Unibet, Bet Rivers, Parks, they have him going over 30.5. So a little bit of value here. I like that take. Mr. C3P says, if Trae Young doesn't drop 30 points, they're not winning this game. I feel you. I feel you on that. Desmond, you are welcome. Suavlos, are you saying under on Trae with the laughing emoji as in it's ludicrous to go under on Trae Young? Or are you saying you are going to go under on Trae Young? You guys let me know. What do you guys think? You going over or under Trae Young's points? I think I'd have to lean toward the over, being that we're getting value here at 30.5, 31.5 on these books. He's projected to go over. He's gone over in 3 out of 4 games. The matchup doesn't look overly difficult. I'm leaning toward the over. So that's just me. What other points props do you guys want me to take a look at here from tonight's games? Trevor, you're talking CJ McCollum points, Paul George points, both over. Let's start with CJ McCollum. Let's go McCollum first. Is he at, what is he at tonight? Is he at 25.5 again? Let's take a look here. Where is he? Oh, there he is. Okay, 25.5 going up against the Clippers. All right, let's take a look at CJ real quick. McCollum over the last 10 games at 25.5 points has gone over in 30% of his games. So that's a pretty bad hit rate. The last time he took the floor was against the Spurs. He dropped 32 points against them. Now against the Clippers this season at 25.5, he has not really gone over against the Clippers in any of these games. Not even close, in fact. 20, 14, 13, 19. So he's gone under, averaging just 16.5 points versus this Clippers team in those games. So it's been rather difficult for CJ McCollum in terms of scoring. Not only in the last 5 games at 25.5, but against the Clippers whether he was with Portland or New Orleans, has not cleared 25.5 points versus the Clippers at all this season. So there's that. All right. Looking at this Clippers defense, there's a lot of red up on the board. So they're very tough. They really don't look too bad in any category. They look pretty tough across the board here. So it's not going to be the easiest matchup for McCollum. Let's assume McCollum is operating more as the point guard tonight. We'll look at both point guard and shooting guard spots. But McCollum versus the Clippers. Clippers, last 7 games, giving up about 23 points per game to point guards. You can see where that ranks them, kind of in the middle of the pack, but down toward the bottom. When you're down toward the bottom, that means it's a tough matchup. So kind of a tough looking matchup here for CJ McCollum. Now let's also look at the shooting guard spot. Shooting guards against the Clippers. Last 7 games, Clippers giving up just 14 points per game. That is the first fewest points allowed to shooting guards. So yeah, could be a tough matchup here for CJ McCollum. On paper, it ain't looking so nice. As far as our projection, I have him projected for 25.4 points. He is at 25.5 across the industry today. So no matter where you play your player props, 25.5 points, he is at 25.5 everywhere, including PrizePicks. At 25.5, looks like the betting public is taking the under on McCollum. Minus 118, minus 120, minus 125, minus 121. So not really seeing much action on the over for CJ McCollum at 25.5. 0 for 4 against the Clippers this season, being bet under on all your sports books. Projected to go slightly under 25.5 points. So there you go. CJ McCollum. Zanny, you're asking what app am I using on the left? This is Fantasy Labs. Part of Fantasy Labs is Action Labs. This is props.cash, which will help you with your player prop research. And then this is just a free DVP chart. You can get this from Fantasy Pros. Just go out to Google, type in Fantasy Pros, DVP NBA, and this should come up. But those are the 3 sites that I'm using. All right. Isaac, you want to know were those games were against the Clippers when he was with the Blazers, or were they with the Pelicans? They were 3 of them were with the Blazers, the first 3. And then the most recent one was April 3rd when he was with New Orleans. So 3 out of the 4 games were with the Blazers. The most recent one, he scored 19 with New Orleans. So there you go. Yep, I use StatMuse as well. All right. So there you go. CJ McCollum looking like he's in a tough spot, tough situation. The other one that you guys wanted me to look at was from the other side of this game, which was PG. We were a little worried about Paul George. He kind of came out slow, right? We were thinking, oh no, it's pandemic P. Where's playoff P? Where's playoff P? Is he going to show up? Well, playoff P showed up in the 3rd quarter pretty big. For everybody that doubted it, Paul George erupted. He woke up, all right? So he went from pandemic P to playoff P pretty quick in the second half. Let's take a look at Paul George here. He's at 27.5 points today over on PrizePicks. We take a look at what he's done since re-entering the lineup here for the Los Angeles Clippers. It's been a total of 6 games. He had 34 when he made his return. And then he went through a slump, 22, 15, 19, and 23. Goes under in all 4 of those games. Maybe he was just mailing it in, trying to preserve himself for the playoffs. Because then he came back against Minnesota the other night, 3 nights ago. Drops 34 points against the T-Wolves. So maybe we don't get so worried about these 4 games that are in the middle here when he went for 22, 15, 19, and 23. Maybe he was just taking it easy, right? He came back against Utah, dropped 34. Then he kind of maybe he coasted through these 4 games. But he did come back in a big way against Minnesota, dropping 34 points. So, Paul George, don't know how I feel about taking any unders on him. It's dangerous. It's dangerous. New Orleans defense, 13th in points allowed, 23rd in field goal percentage allowed, 23rd in three-pointers allowed, 26th in three-point field goal percentage allowed. So maybe you take some three-point props against this Pelicans team. They don't seem to defend the three ball very well. 12th in free throws allowed and 11th against opposing small forwards. Against the Pelicans this season, he has faced them 3 times. In those 3 games, he has failed to go over 27.5 in all 3 contests. The most recent being April 3rd, where he had just 15 points. So, do have some game logs for Paul George. He's 0 for 3 against the Pelicans this season. You guys do with that what you will. I don't know that I feel completely good or safe about taking any unders on Paul George anymore. I just, he's looking good. He's looking really good. Going up against New Orleans tonight, the Pelicans in the last 7 games, giving up over 25 points per game to opposing small forwards. That is the 6th highest point per game average to the position in that 7-game span. So they're giving up plenty of points. Plenty of points to small forwards. So I think Paul George is in a pretty good spot. A little too dangerous for me to take the under on PG. If you don't think he has a good game, just fade it. And then you can watch sweat-free. As far as projections, he is projected for 28.6 points. That's more than 27.5. Across the industry today, we are seeing him at 27.5. They are betting the under, though, at 27.5 on a lot of these sites. That's where most of the action is coming in on Paul George. Minus 125, minus 120, minus 116. I don't think I can do it. I don't think I could pull the trigger on the under on Paul George at 27.5. I'd feel better if I had to choose between CJ McCollum and Paul George, who to take an under on. I might feel better about taking the under on CJ McCollum versus old PG-13 here. But yeah, I don't think I want to do it. Any other points props from these games before I move on from points and start talking some assist props? Any other points props? You guys let me know. Last call. Leroy says, Gallinari over on points, please. Let's do it. He's at 14.5 today. He will likely be starting at the power forward position as long as John Collins is out. That's typically where he's been. So let's take a look at Gallinari here. Atlanta going up against Cleveland. He'll likely be matched up with, I would say, Evan Mobley if Jarrett Allen starts at center. If Jarrett Allen does not start, then Evan Mobley would probably play the 5, and then it would be Gallinari and this dude, Markkanen. But most likely Gallinari against Mobley or Gallinari against Markkanen is the matchup. So in the last 10 games for Gallinari at 14.5 points, he's covered this in 60% of his games, 6 out of 10. We look at the last 5 games, things have been looking pretty good here for Gallinari. An 80% hit rate. He dropped 15 against Brooklyn, 26 against Washington, struggled against Miami with just 7, had 26 against Houston, and then 18 the last time he took the floor, and that was against the Charlotte Hornets. So he's done a pretty good job over the last 5 games at scoring the basketball, averaging 18.4 points per game. That's a difference of almost 4 points versus his prop line today. Now against Cleveland this season, kind of a limited sample size, but he has played them twice. He dropped 25 on them back in February. At the end of March, had just 4. So very, very stark contrast here. Had a fantastic game with 25 and then a stinker of a game with just 4 points. But he's averaging 14.5 points, which is exactly where he's at on PrizePicks. We talked about this matchup. Cleveland's defense, pretty tough overall. 14th against opposing small forwards. Gallinari going to be more of your power forward tonight, I would say. So we're going to look at both positions, small forward and power forward. Gallinari going up against Cleveland. Cleveland against small forwards in the last 7 games is giving up over 22, almost 22.5 points per game. So there's some wiggle room, some upside if you're a small forward for the Hawks. Not the hardest matchup in the world. How about power forwards against the Cavaliers? Cavaliers 21.7 points per game allowed. Puts him like right in the middle of the pack. So I think the matchup here for Gallinari, you could even throw the likes of Bogdanovich or Hunter in the mix here. I think that they're both in a pretty good spot. Small forward, power forward, doesn't really matter. There is some potential here for him to go over. Gallinari, 15.2 is his projected points. And then he's at 14.5 on all sports books, which is where he's at on PrizePicks. And on most of these sites, you're seeing the betting public take the over, but it's not outstanding action. You know, it's like minus 121 at the very most. So, but it looks like most people are taking the over on Gallinari. Hey, you guys keep the peace. We're in here trying to help each other win. Disagree, but disagree respectfully. That's the difference, right? Respectfully. If we're going to disagree, if we're going to knock each other's picks or props, let's do so respectively. You know what I mean? Respectfully. Anyway, there's Gallinari for you. Darian, we did talk Capella at the very, very top of the show. And then somebody else mentioned Jonas Valanciunas at 19.5 points. Leroy, come on, you're better than this, buddy. Be nice. Let's all just be nice and get along and help each other win a few bucks tonight. Okay? When you guys start arguing amongst each other, you're letting PrizePicks win. Don't do that. You're driving me crazy, all right? Joe Val, 19.5 points. Just a 20% hit rate when we look at the last 10 games. He went over 19.5 against Charlotte with 24 points. He went over 19.5 points in his last game against San Antonio with 22. In between there, he's flirted with 19, dropping 18, 19, 19. But it's been tough sledding. He's only gone over twice in the last 10 games. Now, against the Clippers this season, he has found some success at 19.5 points. He's gone over in 2 games, and he's gone well under in 2 others. So 26 back in November, 39 in a rematch back in November, 18 in January, and 8 points in April. So 2 overs, 2 unders, 50% hit rate against the Clippers this season. We go down here, the Clippers defense, pretty tough unit overall. They rank 17th against opposing centers. You see a lot of red up on the board. They're not giving up a whole lot of anything across the board. When we look at the center position, the Los Angeles Clippers over the last 7 games, how many points are they giving up? About 21, nearly 22 points per game. Now, that's not saying that Jonas Valanciunas is going to get all of those 21 or all of those 22 points. That's not saying he's going to get all the points that they give up. In fact, they kind of rank down toward the bottom. I mean, like a bottom 10 team in terms of points allowed. So, on paper, as we've said in the past, kind of looks like a tough matchup. He is projected for 20.5 points according to Action Labs today, at 19.5 across the industry today. Not seeing a whole lot of movement here. In fact, I'm not seeing any sites where they're betting the over. A lot of these sites, nobody's touching this prop at 19.5. And I'm kind of in that boat. I don't know if I want to go here right now. Some folks taking the under, like on a FanDuel, minus 120 under, minus 115 under over on DraftKings. So, I mean, for me, I think I'm just going to stay away. I'm going to stay away from this one. So, guys, do I need to put some folks in timeout? Don't make me put you in timeout, man. I hate having to go and time you guys out, man. Let's just keep the peace, bruh. Drop it. Squash it. Focus. Focus on the task at hand. Speaking of the task at hand and focusing, got us a super chat from my man Desmond. Appreciate the super chat, Desmond. He's got Trae Young going under 11 assists today. And the reasoning for this is because he's just 3 for 16, going for 12 or more assists, 5 of 16 when you include ties at 11, ties, pushes, games in which he finished with exactly 11 assists. And against Cleveland this year, he has finished with 7, 11, 9, and 9 assists. And he's averaging 24 field goal attempts in playoff games. So, Trae Young at 11 assists. My man Desmond dropping the super chat. Thank you, Desmond, as always, for the super chat. Let's take a look at Trae Young here. Get a closer look at what my man Desmond's talking about. So Trae Young over the last 10 games, we bump him down to 11 assists. Kind of get a peek at what he's doing here. He's gone for 11 or more in 6 out of his last 10 games. But what Desmond's saying is that against Cleveland, we could even look at last season if you want. We'll pull that up just to take a peek at it. In the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games, he's only gone for 11 or more assists in 2 out of 7 games. He's only gone over 11 assists 1 out of 7 games. So a very, very low hit rate here. If we're looking at just the games in which he's gone over in 17% of his games. So Desmond's thinking Trae Young at 11 assists might be just a little too much, a little too rich. He's thinking Trae Young is going to have to score buckets. He's going to have to shoulder the load offensively against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Taking a look at the Cavaliers in the last 7 games, assists allowed to point guards, they're giving up about 9 per game, almost exactly 9 per game, which is less than 11. So that kind of plays into what you're saying, Desmond, about leaning toward the under on Trae Young at 11 assists. As far as where that ranks them, kind of right in the middle of the pack, right in the middle of the league. Assist projection for Trae Young. Got him at 10.9 assists. That puts him like right at 11. He is at 11.5 assists on all these sports books today. They are betting it under. Minus 145, minus 135, minus 137 on some of these books. Kind of a weird number. But yeah, everywhere that you look, they are betting the under at 11.5. So I'm kind of with you on this, Desmond. I think I would lean toward the under. Maybe worst case, he ends up with 11 assists, but I think I'm willing to take my chances, being that he's only hit 12 assists once in the last 7 games against the Cleveland Cavaliers. So I don't mind this underplay. What other assist props are you guys liking? I could pull up the trends for some of these other guys on the board. Kevin Huerter, 60% hit rate at 2.5. He just popped up on the board as soon as I said his name. Kevin Huerter at 2.5 assists, 60% hit rate. We got Darius Garland at 8.5. He's at a 40% hit rate. We've also got Evan Mobley, but he's not up on the board, 40% hit rate. And then there's the guy we just talked about who's at 11.5, 30% hit rate there. We'll flip it over to the other game. You got BI, 5.5 assists, 70% hit rate, but we're getting him at 5 today on PrizePicks, so a little bit of value there, half assists lower. Reggie Jackson, he's been one that I've been liking. He's at 4.5 instead of 5. He was at 5 the other day, remember that? He ended up in a tie, a push in that game. Not terrible, though, if you tie or push, but a 60% hit rate for Reggie Jackson. We got Jonas Valanciunas, not up on the board, but he's got a 60% hit rate at 2.5. Paul George at 5.5 assists. He's got a 60% hit rate, but we're getting him at 6, so PrizePicks likely bumped him up. You got CJ McCollum at 5.5 assists at a 30% hit rate. We're getting him at 5 on PrizePicks. So a little bit of value there. Yeah, everyday fantasy, you're kind of rocking with me with that Reggie Jackson assists. I agree, Kevin. I could see a situation where Reggie Jackson gets bumped up from 4.5 to 5. I could see that for sure. What happened to Blocks and Steals? They're up on the board. I think they might have just added some. They got him, Cam. They got him. They're still there. I'm going to start with Reggie Jackson. Let's talk about him. Well, I guess technically we started with Trae Young, going under on Trae Young's assists. But I'm thinking Reggie Jackson over assists might be a good look. Let's take a look at this prop. And the reason I want to highlight this specifically is because in games with Paul George back, let's see, we're going to have to stick to the 10-game view, I think, here. PG came back, what did I say, 6 games ago? 5 games ago? Let me double check. Yeah, PG came back on the 29th. So if we start at the 29th here, games in which Reggie Jackson has played alongside Paul George since Paul George came back into the lineup, in which Reggie Jackson has gotten 33 minutes or more. He has hit the over on his assist prop in 4 games. He's 4 for 4. So games since Paul George has come back in which Reggie Jackson has played at least 33 minutes or more, he is 4 for 4. So he hit against Utah, played 37 minutes. He hit against Chicago, played 39 minutes. He hit against New Orleans, where he played 33 minutes. These 2 games, we throw those out because he did not play a lot of minutes, 29.9, 22.5. I think Ty Lue was trying to get him some rest in those games. This last game that he played against Minnesota, 41.8, almost 42 minutes played, and he hit the over. So this is why I like Reggie Jackson. If he's going to play 33 plus minutes, which he should, they're going to need him out there. 4 for 4 since Paul George has made his return. So I think that's kind of an interesting play at 4.5. Like I said, last game he was at 5. So he ended up in a push against Minnesota. But today, they have not bumped this up yet. So at 4.5, we could get a clean victory here. So I think that's a good look, a good way to go. Against New Orleans this season, he's faced them 4 times. Went under in the first 3 games. Did go over in the most recent game on April 3rd with 10 assists. So that's kind of encouraging, right? So I think I like Reggie Jackson over 4.5 assists. In terms of assists allowed, the Pelicans rank 15th, giving up nearly 25 dimes per game. Let's go take a look at that. Point guard position, we're going to look at the assists per game. You see New Orleans is giving up 10.9. So I'm going to go ahead and rock with my man Desmond here. Let's go ahead and make a 2-pick entry. We'll go Reggie Jackson over 4.5 assists, and I'm going to take Trae Young under. Again, that's my man Desmond's play. I'll put $25 on it. So if I win, I make 50. Boom. We locked in a live entry here on PrizePicks. Feeling pretty good about it. New Orleans giving up nearly 11 assists per game to point guards in the last 7. Listen, that's all I needed to see. I think Reggie finds at least 5 assists or more. You guys feel free to tail this pick if you want. Reggie Jackson's projected for 6.4 dimes. That's quite a bit more than 4.5. We're seeing him being bet over 4.5 assists on every sports book out there. Minus 148, minus 130, minus 135 betting favorite to go over. You guys gonna tail this pick? Reggie Jackson over 4.5, Trae Young under 11. I'm going with it, man. You guys come with me if you want. Come along for the ride. All right, what other assist props are you guys liking here from these 2 games tonight? You're going to fade Reggie Jackson, Koyo? Ooh. I don't know, man. I don't know. I thought I made a pretty convincing argument to take the over on Reggie Jackson. Roberto Whitaker Jr. says, what do you think about CJ McCollum's assists? We'll take a look at those. I see Garland being mentioned. Under 8.5 assists. All right, we'll take a look at Garland. We'll take a look at McCollum, and then we'll move on from assists and talk some rebounds. Let's start with Darius Garland here, going up against Atlanta. Darius Garland, last 10 games at 8.5 assists, got a 40% hit rate, but When we look at the last 5 games, he has hit the over on 8.5 in just 1 out of 5. So just a 20% hit rate. Averaging 6 assists per game in his last 5. And then in matchups versus Atlanta this season, played them twice, has had just 8 assists in both games. So I could definitely see where an argument could be made for Darius Garland under assists. 0 for 2 versus Atlanta, just 1 for 5 in his last 5 games, and just 4 for 10 in his last 10 games. Some pretty terrible hit rates so far for Garland. But the Hawks defense is giving up the 23rd most assists per game to opposing teams, so that's a pretty good number. When we jump ahead here, look at the last 7 games. Point guards, assists allowed to point guards by the Atlanta Hawks. We scroll down a ways. Hawks given up just 7.5 assists. That is the 6th fewest. So more evidence that maybe we should be leaning under on Darius Garland at 8.5 dimes. They're giving up 7.5. He needs to find 9 to hit the over. So tough looking matchup here on paper, indeed. As far as his projected assists, they've got him projected for nearly 10 dimes today at 8.5. The betting public is liking the over. Minus 130, minus 135, minus 134 betting favorite to go over at 8.5. So the projections in the betting public liking Garland to go over. We look at the historical stuff. 0 for 2 against the Hawks. 1 out of his last 5. 4 out of his last 10. Pretty terrible hit rates across the board. So there you go. And then CJ McCollum. 5 assists. You guys liking the over or under on CJ McCollum? Let me know while I start digging into this prop, and then we'll move on to some rebounds and talk about those. CJ McCollum in the last 10 games at 5 assists. He's hit 5 or more in just 4 out of his last 10. So a 33% hit rate, or I take that back, 40% hit rate, right? At 5 or better. 40% hit rate. He comes very close in a lot of games, though. 4, 4, 4, 4, 4. But he's going to need 6 tonight. He's only found 6 or more in 3 out of his last 10. Not the greatest hit rates in the world. At 5 assists, kind of like his points prop, he is 0 for 4 against the Clippers this season. As we talked about before, these first 3 games were when he was with Portland. Had 4, 1, and 3. This one game right here, April 3rd, he was with New Orleans, had 4 assists in that game. So he went under 5. He's going to need 6 to hit the over for you. 5 to push. He hasn't even found 5 in any matchups against the Clippers this season. So has went under on his points and his assists against the Clippers in 4 different games across 2 different teams, Portland and New Orleans. So it's not looking great. Not looking great for an over so far. Let's jump ahead. Let's look at the DVP here. Point guards versus the Clippers in the last 7 games are averaging about 8 assists per game. That's not bad. It's low ranking, but the average is good at 8. And then shooting guards against the Clippers over the last 7 games, 5.3 assists. That's less than I would have hoped for, but 5.3, he needs 6. I mean, maybe you end up in a tie or a push. I think he's been operating more as the point guard, though, right? Let's jump ahead here. Take a look at a projection for McCollum. Got him projected for 6.1 dimes. At 5.5, people are smashing the under. Minus 160, minus 140, minus 143, which is why PrizePicks felt led to probably bump him down to 5. A lot of action was coming in under 5.5 assists. So there you go. You guys want to talk one more? Kevin Huerter? All right, we'll do Kevin Huerter, and then we'll move on to rebounds. You guys are saying Kevin Huerter. Let's talk Huerter. Let's do it. 6 for 10, 60% hit rate in his last 10 games. But when you look at the last 5, yes, he is 5 out of his last 5. Dropped 4 on Toronto, 3 against Washington and Miami, 5 against Houston, and 4 in his last game against the Charlotte Hornets. So he's 5 for 5. Some of you are saying Trae Young's going to go under his assist prop. Some of you are saying Trae Young's going to have to score at least 30 points in order for the Atlanta Hawks to have a chance. Maybe Kevin Huerter's playing more of a facilitator role tonight. Could be a possible outcome. He's gone 1 for 3 against Cleveland this season, covering back in February. The other 2 games, it was death by hook. 2 against Cleveland in October, 2 against Cleveland at the end of March. So he'll be in the mix for 2 to 3 assists. From what we see here, what he's done, it's going to be probably a sweat. But he should be in the mix for 2 to 3 assists. Looking at the shooting guard spot, assists allowed by the Cavaliers in the last 7 games, they're giving up 3.4. 3.4. That is the 5th fewest. Luckily for us, he needs just 3. So if we're thinking about taking the over, he doesn't need too many, right? He needs at least 3. Skipping ahead here, taking a look at a projection for Kevin Huerter. I've got Red Velvet, as they like to call him. Red Velvet projected to go for 3 assists. He is a betting favorite to go over 2.5 assists on mostly sports books. -121, -125. So slight favorite to go over at 2.5. So there you go. Kevin Huerter. So let's move on to rebounds, gang. Appreciate everybody being here. Thank you so much for the likes. Trevor says we've only got 50 likes. Well, how many viewers do we have? You know, if we have like 51 viewers and 50 likes, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. But if we have like 150 viewers and only 50 likes, well, you guys are sleeping on the job. And we need you to wake up and hit that like button. Appreciate all the likes. As always, appreciate you guys. All right, so we're taking a look at some rebound props. We've tackled assists. We've tackled points. Let's tackle some rebounds. At first glance here, looking at the last 10 games, as far as hit rates go on these rebounds from the Atlanta-Cleveland game, a lot of these dudes are hitting it 50% or below. Gallinari, Hunter, Huerter, Capella, Markkanen, Mobley, all at 50%. Then you got Garland and Young at 40%. So the hit rates are not looking very sexy here for the Atlanta-Cleveland game. Let's take a look at the New Orleans and Los Angeles game. A little bit better job here as far as hit rates go. Nicholas Batum leading the way at a 70% hit rate. Ivica Zubac at a 60% hit rate. We got a couple of 50 hitters. Marcus Morris Sr., Brandon Ingram. One guy hitting at 40%, that's Paul George. 3 guys hitting at 30%, Herbert Jones, Joe Val, and CJ McCollum. And then Reggie Jackson all the way down at the bottom. Just a 10% hit rate at 3.5 rebounds. So maybe we look to take an under on Reggie Jackson. He's gone for 4 or more rebounds in just 1 out of his last 10 games. Yikes. Yikes. What's the locks? You know what the locks is. That's my man Jada Kiss, Styles P, Chic Luch, legendary rap trio from New York. That's the locks, baby. Money, power, respect. It's the only locks that I know about. The only locks that I will acknowledge are those 3. That's it. The locks. Okay, talking rebounds. Listen, Don P, you're jumping up to the Boston Celtics game, talking some Jaylen Brown. We ain't going to go there. Not in today's stream. In a future stream, we will, though. But if you're liking that, I suggest you do jump on these rebound props before they get bumped. I see my man Nick is talking about some Ivica Zubac rebounds at 8.5 going up against Jonas Valanciunas. Look, the other night we took Jakob Poeltl over 8.5 boards against Jonas Valanciunas. Although Poeltl came out with a slow start, just 2 rebounds in the first half, my man clutched up with 7 second half rebounds. He went over 8.5. So maybe if Jakob Poeltl can do it at 8.5 rebounds, maybe Zubac can too. We just got to go take a look here. We got to take a closer look. So let's start with Ivica Zubac. A big-bodied center doing big-body-centered things like rebounding the basketball. It makes some sense, right, for us to go and take a look at Zubac. Zubac, over the last 10 games, has got a 60% hit rate. More specifically, the last 5 games, it's Green, green, and more green. 5 for 5, 100% hit rate, averaging a whopping 11.4 rebounds. I say whopping because that's like almost 3 rebounds higher than where he's at today at 8.5. So he's 5 out of his last 5 at covering 8.5 boards. But how has he done against Joe Val and the New Orleans Pelicans this season? Let's take a gander. Not quite the hit rates that we saw for our man Jakob Poeltl. Remember Poeltl? He was like 3 for 4 at covering his rebounds against New Orleans and Joe Val this season. Zubac, good but not great. 50%. He had 11 back in November, 14 the last time these two teams met. So that's encouraging. April 3rd, about 12 days ago, 14 rebounds against Jonas Valanciunas. Now in between there, he's got 4 rebounds and 5 rebounds. These games, not so good. Let's take a look at the minutes here. Maybe that was impacting things. Yeah, I think it's safe to say that it was. He played 28 back in November. He played 25 back in as recent as April. But these two games, he only played 17.6 and 19.9. So he played less than 20 minutes in both of these games. So obviously, if he's not out on the floor, if he's not getting minutes, he can't get rebounds either, right? Pretty simple. Got to be out there, got to be on the floor to rack up rebounds. Now, over the last 5 games, when he's had this tremendous hit streak going, 5 for 5, what are his minutes in those games? Well, he's played 25 against New Orleans, 25.2 against Phoenix, 24.5 against Sacramento, 23.3 against Oklahoma City. And this is really encouraging. The fact that now that it's playoff time, Ty Lue gave him 31 and a half minutes against the T-Wolves. I'm thinking if he gets 30 minutes tonight, he should be able to get 8.5 or more rebounds. 9 rebounds, in other words. Covered. Definitely covered at 31.5 minutes. Now, he wasn't as efficient with his minutes, pulled in just 9 rebounds and 31 and a half minutes of game play. But the fact that in games where he's had like 25 minutes or so, that he's been able to put up 14, 11, 12, and 11, and one of those games was against New Orleans, I think I'll take my chances here with Zubac over 8.5 rebounds. Now, where did he go? Did he just disappear off the board? Did they just pull the Clippers off of the board? Is there breaking news that I'm missing about the Clippers? Because Zubac is gone. They have just snatched Zubac. What happened? Paul George, health and safety protocols. Holy shite. Oh no. Oh no. Reggie Jackson, 17.5 points, possibly a steal. Yeah, they look, all the Clippers are gone, y'all. Dang, talk about a Woj bomb. What do we do now? We can't do nothing. There's no Clippers props up here. This guy used to play for the Clippers. Damn. Well, that's a big piece of injury news. I don't know that, Duncan, that it screws the Reggie Jackson assist tickets so much. I wouldn't say that. Let's go back and look at the Reggie Jackson assists now. Damn. Well, guess we can't talk about any Clippers for a little while. Let's go to this season, games without Paul George, Reggie Jackson at 4.5 assists. Look, I'm not sweating it. I'm not sweating it. 58% hit rate still for Reggie Jackson at 4.5 assists. I mean, when we isolate the last 30 games without Paul George at 4.5 assists, a 73% hit rate. The last 10 games, a 70% hit rate. Last 5 games, 60% hit rate. So, I mean, if you took Reggie Jackson over 4.5 assists, I would say don't be too worried about it. He had 3 in one game against New Orleans without Paul George. But not impossible for Reggie Jackson to still come through. You got to remember that, he could still have a very heavy assist role. They got Norman Powell in there now, another guy who could score. He might end up being a starter now that Paul George is out. So I wouldn't panic. If you took Reggie Jackson over 4.5 assists, I wouldn't be too worried about it. Could be a little more sweaty. But yeah. Desmond saying that Reggie Jackson's assists were at 6.5 without PG. So there you go. Yeah, if Paul George doesn't play, then you should be able to get a refund on that. Wow. We'll talk about some freaking breaking news during the live stream, man. Paul George. Health and safety protocols. Yikes. Anyway, back to the rebounds we go. Listen, if they put Ivica Zubac back up at 8.5 boards, I'm with it. I'm about it. I'll take it. What other rebound props do you guys want me to take a look at? Let's try to regain our focus and composure here. Is there any other rebound props I should discuss, or are you guys ready to move on to something else? But I like Zubac at 8.5 if we get him back up on the board. We can't really talk about any Clippers because we don't really know what their prop lines are going to be when they're reposted. So if you're liking any Pelicans props for rebounds, any Hawks, or any Cavaliers rebound props, let me know. Yep, Paul George officially ruled out. Wow, damn. Is Herb Jones rebounds worth a look, or did I miss that? We have not talked any Herb Jones. He's not up on the board for PrizePicks purposes. At 4.5 rebounds, he's got a 30% hit rate. I mean, you could go there, I guess, but don't know that I'm necessarily interested. Jeremiah Carter saying we go under on Clint Capella's rebounds at 13.5. Now, that's kind of an interesting take. Let's look at that real quick. Now, if Jared Allen's in, then this may be a sneaky good under. This may be a sneaky good under if Jared Allen is in. Capella over the last 10 games, he hasn't exactly been a model of consistency. Unless you think that this under-over pattern is consistency. I mean, he's went under 13.5. Then he goes over, then he goes under, 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 then he goes over. With 17 against Charlotte. Kind of a weird situation here, right? Red, green, red, green, red, green, red, green, red, green, red, green. Against Cleveland this season at 13.5 rebounds, he has gone over 13.5 boards in 3 out of 4 games. I mean, he's got highs of 23 rebounds, a low of 7. Pretty significant, ceiling to floor. Jared Allen being in, maybe it impacts things a little bit, but I'm assuming Jared Allen was in for some of these games, and he still hit in 75% of his contests versus Cleveland. But you'd have to dig in a little bit further, see who was in for Cleveland or not, if Allen was in or out. But Cleveland's defense, if you take a look at this, 6th in total rebounds allowed, 20th in offensive, and 3rd in defensive rebounds. And then they rank 20th against opposing centers. Speaking of centers, we'll go over and take a look. Cavaliers, last 7 games, they're giving up over 17 boards per game to opposing centers. So I don't know if I'm liking Clint Capella under, man. The matchup looks really good. The hit rates, 3 for 4, look good. He does have this funky little holding pattern of going under, then over, then under, then over. So, I mean, you never know with this guy, right? Never know. His projected rebounds are 13.3, putting him really close to 13.5. It looks like most of the betting public is taking the over on Clint Capella at 13.5. Minus 125 is about the most juice, the most action you're going to see on Capella. So, yeah, I would be careful taking the under on Clint Capella. Don't know that I would put that in all my lineups. Don't know if I would put that in a power pick. I'd probably flex something like that. Jarvis or I'm sorry, Jarvis Hayes. Jarvis Hayes played for the Georgia Bulldogs, I think, back in the day, and for the Washington Wizards. We're talking about Jackson Hayes, Jarvis Hayes. Yeah, pretty sure he was like a small forward, right? For the UGA Dogs. We're talking Jackson Hayes, 4.5 rebounds. Let's look at Jackson Hayes real quick. Jackson Hayes, 4.5. You're going to get him at 5.5 on props.cash, so bump him down to 4.5, and then you'll see that he is at a 50% hit rate, 5 out of his last 10. He's posted some pretty good rebounding games, 10 rebounds, 12 rebounds in some of these contests. Hasn't been so good over the last 5 games, though. 60% hit rate. Rebound numbers are pretty down here in the last 5. Other than this 12 rebound game against Sacramento, he's had just 3, 5, 2, and 5. Let me look at his minutes. Yeah, his minutes aren't really there. I mean, you look at these last couple of games, 16 and a half. He played just 20 minutes against San Antonio, which was obviously a playoff game. So that's not good. Seems like they're going with more of their vets. So I don't know if I trust Jackson Hayes, not Jarvis Hayes, Jackson Hayes. Last 3 games against the Los Angeles Clippers, he did post 10 boards back on April 3rd, but prior to that, just 1 and 4 rebounds. That game that he posted 10 rebounds, he played 22 minutes. So he's got some potential against the Clippers. Maybe it gets even easier with Paul George being out of the mix. Looking at the power forward position, Clippers are giving up the first most rebounds per game to power forwards in the last 7 games. They're giving up more rebounds to power forwards than any other team in the last 7 games. So the matchup looks pretty good for Hayes. Might be a sweat. He's going to have to get it done in about 20 minutes. Doesn't look like he's going to play much more than 20 minutes. Probably less than 25. I'd say 20 to 25 minutes is to be expected as far as play time for him. So if you think he can get it done in 20 to 25 minutes, then maybe you take the over because the matchup does look really good here for Hayes. Let's get you a projection. Hayes projected for 5.3 rebounds. That's more than 4.5. We're seeing him at 4.5, but only on one book, DraftKings, and he is a betting favorite at -120 to go over. So, yes, for those of you maybe just getting here, you have not heard yet, Paul George is out. He's going to miss tonight. He is in health and safety protocols. Man, that sucks. But that's the way it is. Pandemic P. He's not playoff P tonight. He will be in health and safety protocols. And you can call him Pandemic P again. So yeah, Paul George is out. Anyway, let's move on from rebounds. Is there any PRA plays that you guys want me to discuss? You guys let me know now. Take a few of those. Take a look at some of these hit rates real quick. Atlanta and Cleveland leading the way for PRA is Kevin Huerter at 19.5 PRA. He's got an 80% hit rate, but we're actually getting him at 18.5 here on PrizePicks. Danilo Gallinari, Clint Capella, Lauri Markkanen, all at a 60% hit rate. We got Hunter Garland, 50%, Mobley at 40%, and Trae Young at 30%. There you go. Protocol P. Yeah, I like that. Protocol P. When was the last time a player was ruled out for protocols? It's been a couple of months, a few months. It's true. It's probably some fluky COVID test or something, you know, probably, I don't know, some weird COVID test went off or something. Sucks. Eli, you're liking CJ McCollum for PRA. Let's take a look at him. 35.5 PRA. We talked about the hit rates briefly for McCollum over the last 10 games. It's just 30% at 35.5. So it's not the greatest hit rates in the world here for Mr. McCollum. We talked about his struggles this season against the Clippers as well. He's went under on points, went under on assists versus the Los Angeles Clippers this season. So I'm assuming he's probably went under 35.5 PRA against them as well. But taking a look at the last 10 games for McCollum, A 30% hit rate, not very good. He did have 45 PRA against San Antonio, though, so that's kind of encouraging. The last time he took the floor, 45 PRA. But this team, the Los Angeles Clippers, a lot more difficult matchup than the San Antonio Spurs. We look at what he's done against the Clippers in 3 games this season. Not pretty. 3 of these games, again, were when he was with the Portland Trail Blazers. He had 28 PRA, 16, and 19 before getting shipped out to the New Orleans Pelicans. He played the Clippers April 3rd with 26 PRA. So has not come anywhere close to 36 PRA, which is what he needs for the over tonight. Has not come close in any of his 4 games versus the Clippers this season. So jumping ahead here, taking a look at the Los Angeles Clippers. Let's sort by team. To point guards, they're giving up 23 points. Let's call it 6 rebounds. That's about 29, 30 PRA, and about 8 assists. So about 38 PRA. Decent. And then we look at the shooting guard spot. They're giving up just 14 points, about 7 rebounds. That's like 21 plus 5 assists, 26. So if he's considered to be the shooting guard, the matchup's worse against the Clippers. Going forward, let's pull a projection up. We got CJ McCollum projected for 36.6 PRA. So the action projection tools like McCollum to go over 35.5. But the betting public disagrees. They are betting the under on a couple of sports books, DraftKings, BetMGM. So they're taking the under on CJ McCollum. Eli saying he's liking it as an under as well. All right, that makes sense. That makes a little bit more sense. Kevin saying, how about we talk about another Kevin Herter of the Hawks. Yeah, we said that he was leading the way as far as PRA hit rates lately, last 10 games. And we're getting him at 18.5 over on PrizePicks. So Kevin Herter at 18.5. An 80% hit rate in the last 10 games. And in the last 5 games, he maintains that 80% hit rate, averaging 21.2 PRA. Now, he has struggled a little bit against Cleveland this season, only hitting the over on 18.5 PRA in 1 out of 3 games. So that's just a 33% hit rate. Cleveland's defense, we talked about them being kind of tough, ranked 5th in points, 6th in rebounds, 11th in assists allowed. We jump ahead here, looking at the shooting guard position. Cleveland's given up 15 points, about 5 boards. That's 20. And about 3 assists. That's like 23. So it's kind of a tough matchup on paper. He needs 19. They're giving up about 23 to 24 PRA per game. A projection for Herter. He's projected for 19.8. We are getting 1 PRA value on Kevin Herter, meaning he is at 19.5 out on your favorite sports books, but at just 18.5 on PrizePicks. It's a little bit of value there for us, right? A little bit of value here for Red Velvet. Jose Alvarado. Alvarado? Yeah, Alvarado. You guys want to go Jose Alvarado? 10.5 PRA? Let's peek at this guy, all right? He's going to be coming off the bench. Haven't taken a lot of bench player props, but maybe this can be an interesting one that we take a look at here. The last 10 games for Alvarado, a little bit better when you bump it down to 10.5. He's got a 60% hit rate. It's the last 4 games specifically. This man's really been earning himself more playing time. 80% hit rate in the last 5 games. Averaging 14.8 PRA. Against the Clippers this season, it's probably going to look somewhat ugly. He's only played 2 games, so kind of a small sample size. Had 16 in one game, 4 in the other. We need to take a look at the last 5 games and see how many minutes they're giving Alvarado off the bench. Let's see. About 20 to 21 minutes per game. He played about 22 versus San Antonio. So he's playing about 20 plus minutes per game. 22 seems to be about the norm for him in the last 4 games. So if he gets 22 or more minutes, I mean, he's been doing pretty well at producing. As far as the matchup goes, he's a point guard. The Clippers versus point guards, 23, 5 or 6, and 8. So definitely some upside for Alvarado. Only seeing him available on one sports book. He is a betting favorite at -125, but he is projected for 13.4 PRAs. So he could be someone that's kind of off the grid, off the radar. Of course, a lot of people are going to flock to the likes of Brandon Ingram, CJ McCollum, some of the stars. So maybe Alvarado, you sneak him in there. There you go, D'Angelo. Hopefully that helps you out. Let's move on from PRA. If there's any 3-point props, you guys can let me know which 3-point props you want me to take a look at. Be happy to help. Be happy to look at those for you. A couple of guys from the Atlanta-Cleveland game, 70% hit rates on their 3-point make props. So Kevin Huerter, 7 out of 10. Darius Garland, 7 out of 10. Both of those guys rocking that 70%. They're leading the way by far. Trae Young's at a 50%. Lauri Markkanen, 40%. Gallinari and Hunter for the Hawks, both at 30%. So Garland, Fume is already saying that Darius Garland is a better prop than his points. 100%. So you're liking the 3-point makes for Darius Garland more than you like his points. You might have a valid argument there. I said that the other day about LaMelo Ball. I think he was at like 23.5 or 25.5 points, LaMelo Ball. And I was like, look, if you want to take a scoring prop for Ball, might want to consider taking his 3-point makes. And he did end up hitting 4 threes against the Hawks before getting eliminated from the playoffs. But Darius Garland, 70% hit rate over the last 10 games. Last 5 games, that hit rate has gone up to 80%. We could even take a look at this season, home and road splits for Garland. Does he shoot better at home or on the road? At home, 61%. On the road, 44%. So quite a big difference when he plays at home. He's definitely more of a home splits type of shooter. So he's got that going for him. Against the Hawks this season, he has faced them twice. Funny enough, both of these games were at Atlanta. He did have 4 at Atlanta and 1 the last time they played. So tonight will be the first time he plays the Hawks in Cleveland, where he seemingly shoots the ball better, right? Against the Hawks' last 7 games, point guards have made about 3.9 3-point makes per game. So nearly 4 per game. That is the 4th most 3-point makes allowed on average in the last 7 games. So very good matchup against the Hawks for Garland. They're not doing a very good job at defending the 3-ball against opposing point guards. As far as the projection goes, I got him projected for 3 3-point makes. He is a -125 to go over. 2.5 3-point makes on 2 different books, 2 different sites. So there you go. Trevor says we are trending toward the under on 99.5 likes. Ugh. 140 people, just 75 likes. Well, you can't always hit the over, can we? Sometimes it's good that we take the under on 99.5. Can't always seem to get there. It's all right. We're due for a down game every once in a while. At 99.5 likes, we were due for an under. We tried, though. We tried our best today. So Darius Garland at 2.5 3-point makes has hit the over at a pretty high clip. So if you wanted to take his 3-point prop instead of his point prop, I'm not mad at that. Zanny, we are holding off on talking Milwaukee Bucks props. Today it's focused on the 2 games that we've got going on tonight. Cleveland, Atlanta, New Orleans, Los Angeles. So those are the ones that we're kind of focusing on today. So we'll take that Brook Lopez prop into consideration at 17.5 PRA. But as far as any other 3-point props, there's not anything else for us to really choose from here other than Garland and McCollum. So we could go ahead and skip forward. Free throw makes, Trae Young at 7. Probably an interesting way to go. He's hit 7 or more in 3 out of his last 5 games. 60% hit rate there. Darius Garland, he's always a pretty high usage player. If he's in attack mode, if he's being aggressive, then he could find his way to the free throw line and knock down 5 out of 6. So if he goes to the free throw line 3 times, he's got to make 5 out of 6 to hit the over. McCollum is always interesting at 2.5 free throw makes. I mean, that just seems so doable. Get to the line twice, make 3 out of 4. Make 3 out of 4. Right? 2.5 free throw makes seems so doable. He made 5 against San Antonio, but he was 0 for his last 4 prior to that. Brandon Ingram, 6 free throw makes. He's done a pretty good job at making 6 or more. 4 out of his last 5 games, he's hit 6 or more. Joe Val against Zubac. He's hit the over on 3 free throw makes in 3 out of his last 5 games. So for me, I tend to play more of your like guards and forwards. I don't really go with big dudes too much like Joe Val. So blocks and steals, again, not a prop category that I play a whole lot of. I know somebody earlier asked about blocks and steals. Where are the blocks and steals? They're still here. You can still play blocks and steals. Let's look at the blocks and steals that are hitting at the highest hit rates. Starting with the Atlanta-Cleveland game, PrizePicks has given us just one, which is Evan Mobley. He's hit the 2.5 blocks and steals prop in 50% of his games. So not great, not a great hit rate. We could take a look at a projection, though, for Mobley. Mobley's projected for 2.6 blocks and steals, but the public is betting the under on him. Betting the under. Now, from this other game, they gave us 3 different props. All of them Pelicans. So let's look at all of these Pelicans props. They got McCollum at 1.5, Joe Val at 1.5, Herbert Jones at 2.5. So Herbert Jones at 2.5 is leading the way with a 60% hit rate. Joe Val at 1.5, he's also at a 60% hit rate. CJ McCollum, 1.5, a 50% hit rate. So you guys are saying, a couple of you guys are saying Herbert Jones. Let's look at Herbert Jones real quick. Projection for Herb. I do have him projected for 2.7, which leans toward the over. But again, the betting public taking the under at Herbert Jones at 2.5. They're betting it under. As far as Valanciunas goes, at 1.5. He's being bet under as well, but is projected for a slight over at 1.6. And then McCollum at 1.5 is being bet under. He's projected for exactly 1.5. So that's it, man. Other than fantasy score, we pretty much tackled all of the other player props. Appreciate everybody who dropped a like on today's live stream. If we don't get to the over at 99.5, no hard feelings. It happens, right? It happens. What I will remind you is of a couple things before I go. Today is Free Entry Friday. All you have to do for that is join my Discord. There's a link down in the description below. Basically, if you're in Discord, doesn't matter if you're a Patreon member or just a regular Discord member, you'll have a chance to get your hands on one of 3 free 2-pick entries to win $100 over on PrizePicks. I'll be posting that giveaway here shortly. If you're a Patreon member, you'll have an opportunity to get your hands on one of 13 free 2-pick entries to win $100 over on PrizePicks. So Patreon members get a chance at 10, exclusive to Patreon members. If you're just a regular Discord member, you get a chance to win one of 3 2-pick entries to win $100 over on PrizePicks. So Free Entry Friday, that's one thing that I want to remind you of. The other thing I wanted to remind you of is that it is happy hour on PrizePicks today, meaning The minimum entry amount goes from $5 down to $1, meaning you could go and experiment with some different sports for just $1. You could put $1 in, possibly win up to $10, 10x your money over on PrizePicks during that happy hour promo. Other than that, that's about it, man. Good luck if you're in Patreon. I will see you guys throughout the day. I'll be in there chopping it up with you guys in Discord. We'll be doing some MLB props. Obviously, we'll have our Patreon only prop talk discussion at 5 p.m. Eastern time where, we get on there and have a community conversation about all of our favorite props. So be looking out for that. And again, thank you for subscribing. Thank you for being here. And drop a like on your way out if you haven't yet. Until then, good luck tonight. Peace.